So here's the uncomfortable truth. The odds of your brain slowing down as you age are almost guaranteed. But the good news, it's not inevitable and it's not irreversible. Today, I'm counting down the top 5 most powerful, evidence-backed ways to keep your mind sharp, not just for a few years, but for decades. And some of these might surprise you. If you care about your memory, your focus, and staying mentally independent as you get older, stay with me. So before we jump into the list, let's step back and look at the big picture. We know the brain changes as we age. Even in perfectly healthy aging, no dementia, you lose a little processing speed. Attention feels fuzzier. Memory retrieval, it just takes longer. You walk into a room and forget why you're there, or blank on a name that you know. That's normal. And on the inside, real structural and functional changes are happening. Synapses, the connections between your neurons, they thin out. Neurogenesis, the birth of new brain cells, it slows. Blood vessels stiffen. Inflammation creeps in. And the hippocampus, your memory center, it shrinks a bit each year. In fact, data from the Baltimore Longitudinal study of aging shows hippocampal volume drops out 1 to 2% per year after your 50s. Now, that's very different from Alzheimer's or dementia, where you see toxic protein buildup, massive synapse loss, and much more aggressive shrinkage. Here's the key. Studies show that you can influence how much and how fast these normal changes happen. The brain stays surprisingly plastic well into your 70s, 80s, even 90s. So what can you do about it? Here's your top 5 list. Coming in at number 5, sleep and stress. These two don't get enough respect, but they have huge, measurable impacts on your brain. Starting with sleep. During deep, slow-wave sleep, your brain clears out metabolic waste, including amyloid beta, that sticky protein linked to Alzheimer's. That happens via something called the glymphatic system, which only kicks into high gear when you're asleep. Poor sleep, whether it's insomnia, sleep apnea, or just chronic sleep deprivation, is linked to faster cognitive decline. A 2021 study in Nature Aging followed people over 50 and found that those who slept fewer than 6 hours a night had a 30% higher risk of dementia over the next 25 years. Other studies, like the one from JAMA Neurology in 2020, show that even middle-aged adults with fragmented sleep patterns accumulate more amyloid plaques in their brains, decades before symptoms show up. So what can you do? First, prioritize a consistent schedule. Get bright light in the morning and keep things dark and quiet at night. Keep your room cool. Cut screens and caffeine later in the day. And if you struggle long-term, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, has been shown to outperform sleeping pills and actually fix the root problem. And next up, stress. Chronic stress floods your brain with cortisol. Too much cortisol damages the hippocampus and impairs memory. A 2018 longitudinal study in neurology found that people with higher cortisol levels in midlife had smaller brain volumes and worse memory scores later on. So what helps? Mindfulness meditation, therapy, time outdoors. Even short daily practices matter. In a 2020 JAMA Internal Medicine RCT, just 8 weeks of mindfulness improved working memory and attention in older adults. So don't think of sleep and stress as soft factors. They're foundational. At number 4, staying mentally and socially engaged. Here's the thing. A lot of people think keeping their brain sharp just means doing crossword puzzles every morning. That's not the full story. What really matters is novelty, challenge, and connection. Learning new skills, like a language, a musical instrument, even woodworking. They strengthen attention and memory. In a 2014 RCT in psychological science, seniors who learned digital photography or quilting showed better memory gains than those who stuck to more passive or familiar activities. And there's more. A 2022 study from Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that seniors who regularly engaged in mentally stimulating hobbies, things like chess, writing, or playing an instrument, maintained thicker cortical regions on MRI scans than peers who didn't. And their social connection. This is huge. A 2019 meta-analysis in PLOS Medicine covering 2 million people found that loneliness and social isolation were associated with a 50% higher risk of dementia. Why? Because meaningful conversations, emotional connection, and navigating relationships activates multiple brain regions, fostering neuroplasticity. So volunteer, join a club, take a class, call a friend. Even a 10-minute meaningful conversation can stimulate more brain areas than an hour of solitary mental work. Bottom line, keep learning, keep connecting. Your brain thrives on both. Number 3 on the list, how you eat. The evidence here is strong. The Mediterranean and Mind diets stand out as the most protective for the brain. Both emphasize colorful fruits and vegetables, whole grains, olive oils, nuts, legumes, fish, and minimize red meat, sugar, and ultra-processed foods. A 2021 meta-analysis in Frontiers in Nutrition found that high adherence to the Mediterranean diet was associated with a 23% lower risk of cognitive impairment and dementia. And the Mind Diet, it was developed by researchers at Rush University. It combines Mediterranean and DASH elements, but specifically emphasizes berries and leafy greens. In their 2015 Alzheimer's and dementia study, people in the highest adherence group performed cognitively as if they were 7.5 years younger. And this isn't just association. The 2017 New Age RCT found that older adults on a Mediterranean-style diet for 1 year showed measurable improvements in memory and processing speed. And why does it work? It's likely a synergy. Omega-3s from fish improve membrane integrity and reduce inflammation. Antioxidants combat oxidative stress. Polyphenols from berries and tea enhance synaptic plasticity. And fiber supports a healthy gut microbiome, which is merging links to brain health. And if you want even more evidence, a 2020 American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study showed that seniors who ate at least 2 servings of leafy greens a day scored cognitively equivalent to someone 11 years younger. So build your plate around plants, healthy fats, fish, and berries. Your brain will thank you. And number 2, move your body. If you had to pick just one intervention from the list, this might be the one. Exercise boosts BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which helps neurons grow, connect, and survive. In a landmark 2011 randomized control trial, older adults who walked briskly for 40 minutes 3 times a week increased their hippocampal volume by 2% after a year, essentially reversing the typical yearly decline. And more recently, a 2023 JAMA Neurology meta-analysis of 48 randomized control trials confirmed that regular aerobic exercise improved memory, processing speed, and executive function. And don't forget resistance training. A 2017 neuroimage study showed that twice-weekly strength training improved executive function and reduced white matter lesions, which are linked to cognitive decline. The magic formula? At least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week, brisk walking, cycling, swimming, plus 2 strength training sessions. And here's the best part. Studies on previously sedentary adults in their 70s and 80s show measurable benefits within just 6 months. It's never too late to start. And at number 1, believe that change is possible and actually start. Now, I know this might sound soft, but hear me out. Many people think decline is inevitable. They believe there's nothing they can do, so they do nothing. But research shows that simply believing your brain can improve, what psychologists call a growth mindset, correlates with better cognitive performance and healthier aging. In a 2012 health psychology study, older adults who viewed aging positively performed better on memory tests and even lived longer. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start. Pick one thing from this list today. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe call a friend. Maybe swap your fries for a salad. Your brain is plastic. It rewires itself based on what you do, but it can't rewire around nothing. All right, so a quick recap of your top 5 ways to keep your brain sharp for decades. Number 5, rest and reset. Protect your sleep and manage stress. They're not luxuries, they're essential. Number 4, stay engaged. Challenge your brain and nourish your social life. Variety and connection matter. Number 3, feed your brain. Follow a Mediterranean or mind-style diet. Plants, fish, healthy fats, and berries. Number 2, stay active. Move your body. Aerobic and strength training keep your hippocampus young. And number 1, believe and begin. Remember, your brain is plastic, but only if you give it something to work with. These strategies don't just work in isolation. They're synergistic. The more of them you integrate, the better your odds of preserving, even improving your cognitive function for decades to come. Your brain is resilient. It responds to what you do, and it's never too late to start. So which one of these 5 will you start this week? And if you found this helpful, share it with someone you care about and help them protect their brain too. And as always, I thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.